This is Adhitya Srinivasan, and this is the Private Office Podcast. In episode 2, we spoke to you about TCS, tax collection at source, and how it applied to transactions that were made under the Liberalised Remittance Scheme, or the LRS. There have been some recent developments over the last few days. There was a press release that came out on the 28th of June, which essentially rolled back the position a little bit. And some of the content of that press release has been given effect to. There's been a circular that has come out on the 30th of June. To talk about that, I have with me again Mr. J.B. Mohapatra, former chairman of the CBDT. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So let's dive right into it. This is an update episode. Tell us what has happened. What is the change that has taken place?
Okay, to recapitulate, 206C, which is the tax collection provision, under subsection 1G, would have stipulated a TCS on different items. Before Finance Act 2023, TCS was on two items. One is remittance from LRS, remittance under LRS, and the other one is the purchase from authorized dealers, the overseas program package. In the first case, that is LRS payment, you have a basic threshold limit of 7 lakhs. And beyond 7 lakhs, there was a tax of 5%. In case of overseas package, there was no ceiling. It was only 5%. Whatever be the value of the package, you have to deduct, you have to collect 5%. These are the two things before the Finance Act 2023. In Finance Act 2023, what was proposed was that the 7 lakh ceiling was confined only to two purposes. One was the medical treatment and education. Up to 7 lakhs, there would be no TDS. And beyond 7 lakhs, for these two purposes, it would be 5%. Any LRS remittance for any other purpose would have attracted 20% TCS. This one and the other part with regard to overseas tour package, it was stated in the Finance Bill and later in the Finance Act also that the TDS would be across the board without any ceiling of 20%. Meantime, in May 23, we had the issue of the amendment to the foreign exchange, current account rules, in which the credit card transactions was also included in the LRS. So that also exposed the credit card payment, international credit card payments as part of the LRS. So there are some issues with that one, and government came out with some assurances. It has now resulted into circular number 10 of 2023, dated 30th of June 2023. The newest circular on 206C1G would say that the basic ceiling of 7 lakhs would remain as before. 7 lakh rupees ceiling would be both for of LRS payments of all kinds. LRS payments of all kinds, irrespective of the nature of the remittance, the 7 lakh limit will be there. Beyond 7 lakh limit, it will be 5% for medical treatment and education. It will be 20% for the rest of the purposes. And in respect of overseas tour package, as I told before also, there was no ceiling. Here also there is no ceiling. Up to 7 lakhs, TCS rate would be 5%. Beyond 7 lakhs, it will be 20%. The old rates prior to Finance Act 23, it would continue to apply up to 1st October 2023, and after 1st October 2023, the new rates, as I told, the new rates, that will be a basic ceiling of 7 lakhs across board, right, for the purposes of the LRS, and 5% for medical treatment and education, 20% for the rest. That would apply only after 1st of October 2023. And the second part is that international credit card payment, on that there has been no clear pronouncement saying that until further orders, international credit cards would not be part of LRS.
So, sir, there have been a few things which have happened based on what you had mentioned. And let's just recall for a moment that the way some of these things started was you had Rule 7 in the current account transactions rules, which said that credit card transactions to meet expenses overseas would be outside the remit of the LRS. That rule was deleted, which therefore brought it within the LRS. I think that's how this issue really caught a lot of attention. I know we've spoken in the past about how there was some chatter about the 20% rate during the time of the Finance Act as well. But anyway, coming back to this update, what has been done is they've said firstly that this 7 lakh threshold which used to exist, that has been restored in respect of transactions under the LRS as well.
Absolutely.
What has happened is that in respect of education and health, for amounts that go above 7 lakhs, the TCS rate that will be applicable is 5%. In respect of transactions under the LRS, for transactions exceeding 7 lakhs, the TCS will be 20%, but that 20% rate will only apply with effect from 1 October 2023 as opposed to what was supposed to be 1 July 2023.
Absolutely.
With respect to international tour package programs, there is no threshold as such, but it's 5% with respect to 7 lakhs, and anything above that is 20%. And as I mentioned, these rate changes will take effect from 1 October 2020, specifically speaking with respect to the 20% change. The major change with respect to the current account transactions rules, that is still, we still don't have a clear picture on what's happening over there. So as things currently stand, Rule 7 continues to remain deleted, and therefore it's brought within the fold of the LRS. But I did see in the press release that they said that relevant changes to the current account transaction rules will be brought in time. So maybe there's something that may happen over there as well.
Correct.
Is there anything else, sir, that we need to highlight in terms of the summary?
I would be seeing some kind of legislative amendment next year, because the circular has been issued under the force of 206C1I, which is that provision to remove difficulties, the same as we would have seen in 194BA3. Right. But whether this power to remove difficulties would also enable the government to reduce the tax rate without the concurrence and approval of the parliament, that's a question to be asked. I think legislative amendment will follow to give effect to the circular issued on 30th of June.
So, two questions that come from that. Firstly, do you think there will be a rollback of the rate itself, in the sense the 20% rate, I thought that was done and dusted and there won't be a further change. What they may tinker with is when the 20% will trigger. As we mentioned, the circular says that it will come into effect now from 1 October 2023 as opposed to 1 July 2023. But I thought that 20% has now been something which is largely set in stone unless it's amended through an act of parliament.
No, the threshold for remittance for other purposes, which was removed in the Finance Act, now it has been restored.
That has now been restored.
That restored.
Through the circular.
So whether it could be done without the approval of the parliament is a question to be asked. Whether the government has within the powers with it under 206C1I, whether it can do it. But I think a legislative amendment will follow.
Is there anything that stops them from doing it in the monsoon session, making a change to it? I know that generally changes to the Income Tax Act are made in the budget session, but is there anything that stops them from making this change now?
They can do it. We have done it in the past also. In the monsoon session, we have done. There are instances in which one did not wait for the budget session to move the finance bill. So these kinds of things can come up depending on the gravity and the push and the time available. This can be given effect to.
Right. So what do you think was the reason that this second clarification, so to speak, has been given?
Obviously, there has been some noise about the hike in the rate from 5% to 20%, and which was also it was amplified by the amendment to the foreign exchange current account rules. So both the things coalesced together in order to give shape to some kind of discontent with regard to the hike in the rate. But overall, the restoration of the ceiling of 7 lakhs across the board as before, it's a very welcome move. And there would be few cases, genuine cases of individuals which would be falling under the in excess of 7 lakh category. That would be there, but their numbers would be few. So large part of the taxpayers would be hugely benefited by this rollback.
Adhitya, thank you so much for that. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this update episode of the Private Office Podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please do tell your friends about us. Subscribe to our podcast. Give us a 5-star rating. Goodbye. Thank you.